Here in Baltimore, a star-spangled matchup. Couple of quarterbacks with Super Bowl titles on their resume, and you can see the wind whipping here. It is sunny, temperature in the 50s, get down in the 40s as we play later into this game. Let's head down to the field. Say hi to Laura Okmin.
Hi, Chris. The biggest thing John Harbaugh told his defense was the biggest thing is we got to make them deal with us today. We can't get wrapped up in their offense. Said Sean Payton, our preparation during the week will hopefully force them to get wrapped up in our offense, which might mean doing something unconventional. But I promise we are not taking 11 sacks today. I will stand up on a chair and say it. It ain't happening. Chris?
All right, thank you, Laura. And Sean Payton and John Harbaugh were briefly on the same coaching staff together back in the late 90s with the Philadelphia Eagles. Each has a chance to get their team to a 5th win this season. Harbaugh, after 3 road games consecutively, glad to be home. And the Saints come in having won 4 straight. The Ravens won the toss, and they deferred. So we're going to see, Daryl, you just referenced the 1 versus 1 strength against strength matchup. We're going to see that first as the Ravens will be kicking off to the Saints.
Yeah, and the big addition back for the New Orleans Saints, Mark Ingram, in that run game. That's a huge plus here today. I just can't wait to see this. We always talk about defense wins championships. We've got an opportunity right now to step into the football lab and run a little experiment here today and really see if that is still a true statement.
Drew Brees telling us there's a time to be aggressive, a time to dial it back a bit. And after the bye week, and of course that record-setting moment on Monday night when the Saints defeated the Redskins and Brees became the all-time passing yardage leader. And at 499 career touchdown passes, the 39-year-old quarterback not slowing down. In fact, Brees not hinting at even easing up a bit. His coach saying he's still got the juice in the arm.
Yeah, and it's still fun for him. I think that's one of the big things. Number one, how does the body feel? Does the body still feel good? And then mentally, how much gas do you have in that tank? Those are the 2 things that as you get towards the end of the career, the physical part, the mental part, and I agree with you. I think Drew Brees is right there on both of those.
Taysom Hill, the backup, one of the backup quarterbacks for Drew Brees. Teddy Bridgewater, the other, who also plays special teams, back to receive. Week 7, Ravens, Saints in Baltimore. And Justin Tucker drives this in the back of the end zone for a touchback. Here comes Drew Brees. Amazing. He's the NFL's most accurate quarterback, to go with those impressive numbers. In his last game, he completed nearly 90% of his throws, and then last year he set the record for a season, 72% completion rate.
Unbelievable how efficient he is. It's one of the reasons that this offense is so productive, because they're always ahead of the chains. They always seem to be making positive plays.
But the one team he has not defeated, the Ravens, he's beaten every other franchise in the NFL. 0-4 against the Ravens. From the 25-yard line, Alvin Kamara. And not much running room. This offensive line without Andrus Peat. He's in concussion protocol. He should be back next week, so Josh Larriva starting over in that spot.
And one of the great things about this matchup is going to be the depth. New Orleans likes to push down matchups in their skill position. This is a Ravens defense that can match them in those matchups that you're trying to create down the ladder.
Ted Ginn on injured reserve. Saints missing speed at receiver as Mark Ingram gets the carry. He missed the first 4 games of the season with a suspension, as it'll bring up 3rd down and short against a Ravens defense that you have seen all these statistics. When you get to the second half, they're almost impossible to score upon. They do have Marlon Humphrey out with a thigh injury. Jimmy Smith and Brandon Carr start on the corners. Quick snap on 3rd down. Brees completes. It's Ingram, but shoved backwards. And C.J. Mosley making the quick stop.
And one of the things you'll see from this Ravens defense, they are excellent tacklers. Right there, you've got to get the necessary yardage for the first down in a 3rd and short situation. So if you have that immediate hit, that immediate tackle, you've cleared the distance for the first down.
Back to receive is Cyrus Jones. Went to high school at Gilman in the Baltimore area here, originally drafted by the Patriots. Backup defensive back, a chance to return the punt of Thomas Morstead. It's a fake. The Saints on first down, snap to the up back. It was actually Taysom Hill. We talked about him on the return game, and he moves the chains, and what a shock from Sean Payton on the first punt of the game, or attempted punt.
You've got Taysom Hill. You know you're going to be there right to number 7, and then it's kind of like a quarterback sneak at that point. You're just kind of getting in behind that wedge and pushing it, but what an aggressive call deep in your end on a fake punt.
I mean, inside your own 40-yard line to start the game.
5-7.
Tre'Quan Smith in motion, the rookie, replacing Ginn in the starting lineup. Mark Ingram the carry. Mosley again on the tackle. Well, Daryl, you said, hey, you thought that the key, the tipping point in this game would be how the Saints defense holds up against Flacco and the Raven offense, but the special teams and a little move like that obviously can have a major impact.
Yeah, that forgotten phase, and let's not forget John Harbaugh, special teams coach, in his background. He's got Jerry Rosberg. Sean Payton knows how important it is, and there's the guy right there. Mike Westhoff, one of the best in the business at special teams.
Breeze to throw, and they set up the screen, and it's a tough catch for Kamara. He makes the grab in the sun, is stopped at the 42-yard line. It'll bring up a third down.
You can already see in this early part of the game, everything is going to be earned. Nothing will be given between these two teams in this matchup of 1 versus 1 right here. It's going to be a long, hard day for Sean Payton in this offense to be productive.
Well, Payton said, yeah, the Ravens are good. We're not facing the 85 Bears defense. And John Harbaugh said, you know, we're not worrying, as Laura Open said at the time, we're not worried about the Saints offense. We have to do our thing. 6 defensive backs for the Ravens. Breeze on 3rd and 6 has time. Open right at the marker, and Benjamin Watson looks like he's short, but we'll check the spot. He's pointing as if he caught it, and they're going to give it the first down.
Benjamin Watson right here, and he does what we talked about on that last opportunity on 3rd down. Watch him push it. There's the yellow line. Gets just beyond it, just at it. Gets the progress beyond for the first down.
Watson, the 15-year veteran. Second tour with the Saints. And we're going to have a timeout here.
No, we got a challenge. I think that John Harbaugh is going to challenge the spot. Did Benjamin Watson come back? He clears that, gets beyond it, but did he come back?
Baltimore's challenged the previous play, the forward progress spot as it relates to the first down.
John Perry, our referee, ruled a catch and first down, but challenged by the Ravens. John Harbaugh accurate on the challenge, so it's not a first down. The officials came out. John Perry looked at it, said they're going to move it a half-yard back to the 47, so it's 4th down. See, that ball never does cross. That's just a superimposed unofficial line, but it shows, kind of gives us a gauge, and it looks like the Saints right now are going for it on 4th. Why not after they faked the punt moments earlier? Breeze keeps and surges forward. Who can tell?
There you've got Josh Laribas in there as your left guard. Andrus Peat not there, and that's he's going straight ahead right over that center area. So
looking at that down marker, the end of the chain link looked like he had it. They're going to call for a measurement, I believe. Boy, they're fighting for every inch.
That's the one part you don't think about on the quarterback sneak is the guys come off the edge and get in behind. They're going to grab that quarterback and pull him back, because a lot of times we see him fall forward and get the necessary yardage late.
And a 4th down gamble pays off for Sean Payton. His second aggressive call here in the opening series. It's like he's trying to take a page out of the Ravens playbook. There's the defensive coordinator, Don Martindale. They call him Wink after the game show host from Tic-Tac-Toe and Gambit, among others.
One of the things you can do when you've got a really good defense is you can be aggressive on offense. So this is showing that Sean Payton has a lot of faith in his defense to be able to get on that field and stop.
Mark Ingram into a crowd, stopped short of midfield. His persistence met with some resistance from that Ravens defense.
And just the type of drive you'd expect. You heard Laura talk about Sean Payton saying, I'm going to get up on a chair and say, we're not giving up 11 sacks. A lot of run on this opening drive. Very quick throws. They're not holding the ball.
Alvin Kamara checks in.
Easy. Check. 5-7. Check.
Kamara has it, and he'll lose yardage. Thrown to the ground right away by Terrell Suggs.
How about this guy? 16 years in the NFL at a very, very physical position. And watch, just slides outside, beats the block, sheds it. That's textbook.
And they quickly go to the line after a loss of 4 on 3rd and 12. Breeze. Sideline throw, catch made, and a first down. It's Benjamin Watson again.
Great job by the Saints, getting up, getting hustled. Look at it all. You can see the Ravens defense, heavy left side, didn't really get their pre-snap look the way they wanted.
Breeze is 4 out of 4. Mosley has already been busy here in the opening quarter for the Ravens defense. Ingram. Oh boy, the yards on the ground are tough to come by.
Yeah, everything is going to be earned in this matchup of 1 versus 1s, and everything we thought it would be here on the opening drive. And very, Sean Payton, coming out with that aggressive mentality right from the first series.
Under 9 minutes to go, Saints have had the ball from the opening kick. 5-0. From the 39 of Baltimore, sideline throw is dropped by the usually sure-handed Michael Thomas.
Yeah, I mean, those numbers are crazy. 49 targets, 46 catches. I mean, that does not happen. That connection is almost guaranteed. And that's the margin for error in this matchup. We've talked it. Everything's got to be earned. It's going to be very competitive. Little mistakes like that, a drop pass in that situation. Now you got a 3rd and long.
94% of the throws his way, Thomas has usually come down with. Quick pass. It's Kamara. He spins. Gets down to the 30, but short. As C.J. Mosley kept him from getting the first down.
Well, this will be interesting now because now you're in another 4th down area. Now, Sean Payton has used this twice to extend this drive, but you've got an opportunity for points. Are points at a premium right now, and does he go with the field goal, or does he stay as aggressive as he's been?
I mentioned the wind, Daryl, so the breeze, this is the side of the stadium, even with the new scoreboards, where it does have an effect. So they're passing up a 49-yard field goal try from Will Lutz to go for it again on 4th down. Their 3rd attempt in this drive from the 31. Taysom Hill is the quarterback. Breeze, bottom of your screen, is a receiver. And we have a timeout. The Saints.
Timeout, New Orleans. Teams
use the timeout. Let's get a game break. Say hello to Carissa Thompson. Hey, Carissa.
Hey, Chris. So we're all tied up 23-23. 4 seconds left. A 40-yard attempt from Chandler Catanzaro. He misses it. The Browns are going to overtime for the 4th time this season. Chris.
All right, thank you. And the kicking problems continue. Years change, but for the Tampa Bay Bucks, they just can't find. They can draft, they can sign, they can't find
everything. Yeah, draft the kicker in the 2nd round, trying to find top free agents.
The opposite here for the Ravens, who have had Mr. Reliable. After the Saints timeout, Taysom Hill splits out to the right of Drew Brees on 4th and 2. Mark Ingram fights and gets the first down. Some tough running to the 26 of Baltimore.
And this is the unique thing that Taysom Hill brings to this offense, because he's not just a quarterback that you bring in and swap out with Drew Brees. He'll play in the wide receiver position. He'll be in the running back position, in the slot, out wide. It's a whole set of plays coming from this offense involving him, and he's staying on the field right now down towards the red zone.
Taysom Hill in his 2nd year from Brigham Young signed as a free agent. 2nd and 3. 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 2 Here comes a flag.
Encroachment, defense, for 55, 5-yard penalty, first down.
That's on Suggs, who, when it was asked about this Saint offense and how well they were clicking, he said it's the kind of offense that gives you nightmares. He's used to handing those out to quarterbacks, but that penalty moves him up to the 22 of Baltimore. And a 1st and 5. That's a fun down for a quarterback like Breeze.
Hey, easy. Kill. 5-7. Fan.
Kamara slips through the line and gets inside the 15-yard line. Another first down.
Just great push up front. Watch Alvin Kamara as he goes to the right. Nice job right there. Crowd here booing as the replay comes up. Thinks they saw a little bit of a hold on Josh Hill right there. No flag, no holding.
From the 13-yard line, opening drive, Saints have marched with 6.5 minutes to go in the quarter. We're going to have a challenge.
Baltimore's challenge, previous play, down by contact or a fumble. We'll review the play. Timeout.
So the ball came loose, and they're going to challenge. John Harbaugh is going to challenge contact and the fumble, if he was down or not. We'll review it in detail. John Harbaugh challenged that there was a fumble and lost the challenge, so he's 1 out of 2. This was the play. They ruled Kamara down and correctly called on the field. No overturn. Out of challenges of the Ravens since they didn't hit their first 2. 17th play of the drive. Breeze for the end zone. And almost a one-handed grab by Tre'Quan Smith.
Working across the field, gets a step, good separation right there. Drew Brees trying to float it up over the top. A lot of contact there right near the end with Brandon Carr. So again, you kind of gauge how the officials are going to call pass interference early in the game. It looks like they're going to let him play a little bit on the outside.
Taysom Hill, Brees top of your screen as a receiver. Hill has it, keeps it, runs down to the 6 or 7. He's shoved inside the 5-yard line. The running quarterback, who also takes kickoff returns, used much like Lamar Jackson, who was drafted by the Ravens in a different set of circumstances. But
you got to be aware of that. You know, I think this sounds silly, but the 7 and the 9 look a lot alike. I mean, you've got to notice that, because both ends on that play with contain crashed inside on the give, and it was easy for Taysom Hill to just pull that ball and get outside. You got to make sure that's a 7 in that backfield and not a 9.
On 3rd and 2, Mark Ingram is fighting hard into that crowd. The spot looks like it'll be short of the yellow line. I mean, the Saints have, in this opening drive, which has taken 9.5 minutes, Sean Payton's already gone for it on 4th and short 3 times. One was a fake punt. They had a 2-yarder. They had one that was a half a yard. This is 4th and a yard. Breeze slides out.
A little bit of a late decision. Down to about 5 seconds.
Taysom Hill is the quarterback. He's got it. He pitches. Ball's in the air. It's a fumbled football, and the Ravens have it. Michael Pierce. After all that, the Saints get nothing. Baltimore takes over on the takeaway. Pitch got away from Alvin Kamara. 20 plays over 10 minutes and 69 yards, and the Saints got nothing from the 6-yard line on 1st down. Alex Collins picks up 9.
Yeah, let's go back and look at that fourth down play. And it's old option football. So there's Patrick Owasso. Now what Taysom Hill has to do, he's got to press that. If you don't press that, you allow the defender to play the quarterback and the pitch man. Yeah, the pitch was not great. It was up high, it was a little bit behind. But really, the mistake happened when he did not attack downhill the guy who was responsible for pitch and quarterback.
Kamara's first lost fumble this year. Second and a yard. Flacco to throw and has time. Collins on the catch and has a first down across the 20. Haven't had a chance to say hello to Joe Flacco, who's averaging almost 300 passing yards per game. That's the best mark in his career. 6 games in, and the second most pass attempts of any quarterback in the league this year coming in. Andrew Luck attempting the most. He of the Colts, who won earlier today.
53 is line, get up!
Flacco to throw. Tipped away. Alex Okafor got his hands on the football. That pass was intended for Hayden Hurst, rookie tight end.
You see right here, you're going to get the pass rush, and then once you feel like you can't get there, just get into that throwing lane. Read the quarterback's eyes, and batted balls have been an issue for Joe Flacco this season, tied at the top of the league.
Unusual for a quarterback who's in the 6'6" range. Gus Edwards at running back now. Inside handoff. Willie Snead, the former Saint, gets a first down. Snead to the 35.
Well, how about this? We're talking about this run defense of the New Orleans Saints, and Baltimore's most effective plays so far in the running game. A traditional one to start the game, and there's a little jet sweep right there.
Ravens offense leads the NFL in terms of plays per game. So ball control, they average 76 offensive plays a game, as Gus Edwards, the rookie from Rutgers, is in at running back. Fake to him. Flacco to throw. Middle of the field. Catch made at the 49-yard line. It's going to be another first down. John Brown making the grab.
You draw these plays up, and they actually missed Max Williams down the left side of the field. I want you to watch Max Williams release and get down that left side. He was wide open, got dropped in coverage right here. Joe Flacco missed him. That linebacker is late getting there. He's just got to get some air under it. So
we've already seen from John Brown and Willie Snead. Gain of 16. Edwards is smothered. Saints #1 against the run coming in. So Alex Lewis, who had the neck injury, is out at left guard. Orlando Brown Jr. moves up to right tackle. James Hurst is inactive. Bradley Bozeman goes over to that spot on the offensive line. And here's a team with 4 tight ends that are active, unique to most teams in the league, as John Brown hustles in, make a defensive change. On 2nd and 10. Tried to snap it, but they just got off at the field in time, or the Saints would have been offside or had too many men on the field. And Alex Collins is smothered.
Now remember, that was a late substitution by the Ravens, but you're going to allow the defense the opportunity to match. So that's kind of sorting through that. We'll keep an eye on that substitution during the game.
Saints defense led by Cameron Jordan, the teeth of the defense. He's got 5 sacks. Demario Davis leads them in tackles.
Ringo, 5-3. Hey, check, 3-jet. Niagara. Ringo, space, 5-6.
Third and a dozen. Only a 3-man rush, dumped off to Collins, who is tackled right away. Von Bell from his safety spot. Carissa has another game break.
Thanks, Chris. So Patriots at the Bears, 2 seconds left, down by 7. Mitchell Trubisky, his only option. The Hail Mary. Kevin White catches it on the 1, but the Patriots defense denies him the score. Pats win on the road, 38-31. Chris?
All right, thank you. Sam Cook. Alvin Kamara with the fair catch. inside the 15 of New Orleans. The Saints offense marched all the way down the field and got nothing the first time around. 20 seconds remaining in the opening quarter here in Baltimore. And the Saints' second possession, starting inside their own 13-yard line. They were 3 out of 4 on fourth down in their previous possession, but 1 out of 5 on third down. This is first down. Breeze to throw. Over the head of Tre'Quan Smith. There wasn't a lot there. Smith, by the way, the rookie from Central Florida, drafted in the 3rd round. He was the guy who caught the pass, scored a touchdown that broke the all-time yardage record on that Monday night game for Drew Brees.
Yeah, and Sean Payton hoping that Tre'Quan Smith steps forward for that number 2 spot. They've been trying to find that complementary guy for Michael Thomas, and he actually feels like they need a 2 and a 3 right now. That's why this system has been so successful. There's just been so many guys in the on the skill set that you can get the ball to, and right now they're trying to find a couple of those guys to step forward.
Alvin Kamara gliding up across the 15-yard line. So they have 30-plus yards rushing, 30-plus yards passing. That's the balance that the Saints would like. They would just like more points on the scoreboard. But it's tough sledding against this Ravens defense. Scoreless after 1 quarter. Saints and Ravens. Aerial coverage is brought to you by State Farm with Daryl Johnston, Laura Oakman down on the field. I'm Chris Myers, and we're glad you're watching the NFL on Fox, a premier matchup of a couple of 4-win teams. And a start of the second quarter scoreless. The Raven defense got pushed around but kept the Saints from getting any points in that opening drive, and now it's a 3rd and 7. Pressure on Breeze, airing it out for the sideline, and it slightly overthrows Michael Thomas, and a flag comes in. The coverage was tight by Jimmy Smith. He's been working his way back from his injury, Jimmy Smith, and they're down a corner with Marlon Humphrey inactive today.
Pass interference, defense, number 22. Automatic first down, spot of the foul.
Well, we saw a play in the end zone where they let him play a little bit, so I thought that you see, well, he hooks the arm.
Yeah.
You got to look at that, and if you're hand checking and you're allowing the receiver to have both hands free to make the catch, I think they're going to let you play. But you can see right there, Jimmy Smith trapped that arm.
A 25-yard penalty on 3rd down, so up to the 41-yard line. It's Mark Ingram for a couple. Breeze has yet to connect to a wide receiver. Michael Thomas had a drop, obviously, on that play, the pass interference. He's completed 2 to his tight end, 2 to Kamara, and 1 more to Ingram.
Just a tremendously athletic defense here. And the guys up front, we've seen it in the secondary. They're going to be able to match you down the ladder because they have so much depth in that secondary. So this is going to be a great matchup all afternoon.
Breeze picks it up. Pass did Weddle? Oh, he knocked it away, but the catch was made by Watts. Looked like Weddle had a chance to intercept that ball.
It just disrupts it a little bit. The fumbled snap on the shotgun snap goes to the ground. Everything's kind of sped up a little bit right now, and Eric Weddle, great job kind of trusting, reading Drew Brees' eyes, and he makes a play on the ball.
That's the chess match. Weddle calling defenses, watching what Breeze does after he calls the plays at the line of scrimmage. Or the signals on 3rd and 5. Extra pressure. Breeze is hit as he throws, and it's incomplete. Knocked to the turf by Zadarius Smith, and the Ravens are going the other way with the football. But we'll see what the ruling is on the field. Anthony Levine picked up the loose football. Never saw a clear signal that it was an incomplete pass.
Darius Smith, a big game last week with 3 sacks. He's going to come from the inside. You're going to see him turn loose right there, gets right to Drew Brees.
Now that looks like his arm was going forward, and that would be an incomplete pass. The ruling on the field.
Previous play is under review.
And it should be, as all turnovers are. Great hustle, though, by Anthony Levine, and Harbaugh's defense making it difficult on Brees. A lot to unravel. It's 4th down and 5 from the Saints 45. It was overruled after review, an incomplete pass, not a fumble. And Sean Payton has his offense out there as if they're going to go for it on 4th down. So
we may have to have Laura check in on Thomas Morstead, see if he's okay. They're not using their punter at all today.
The aggressive Sean Payton with Kamara in motion. Maybe he's just trying to draw them off. And they'll take.
Ball start. Offense. Number 9. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
The backup to set up Thomas Morstead, the punter. Who knows what they were up to after they went 4 times in the opening drive on 4th down.
It makes you think.
Yeah,
3. Exactly. You know, you never know how aggressive Sean is going to be in that. The fake punt was down inside their 35-yard line that they ran on that opening drive.
Well, Morstead with a chance now to pin the Ravens deep. Cyrus Jones is back. Bounces at the 20, rolls inside the 20-yard line, and is down there. Let's get a game break and check in again with Carissa.
Thanks, Chris. So Browns at the Bucs, 23-23 in overtime. Chandler Catanzaro with a 59-yard attempt. He had missed a 40-yarder in regulation to win the game. This one is good. Bucs win 26-23, snapping a 3-game losing streak. Chris?
Wow. All right, thank you. So in that division, the Panthers won earlier today, rallying. Atlanta plays Monday night. The Saints hope to keep things alive, and their winning streak in the NFC South. In the North, the Steelers are off. The Browns lost. The Bengals play later against Kansas City.
180!
On 1st down, it's a run to Chris Moore, the receiver, who picks up 9.
And doing the running game a number of different ways. That's the second jet sweep we've seen with different personnel. We saw Willie Snead run it the first time. This time it's Chris Moore coming from the left side. So they're going to test this Saints defense, which is number 1 in the NFL, against the rush with a lot of unconventional style of runs.
They're only giving up 71 yards on the ground per game. Batted down again. This time it's Demario Davis. That's the second in this game, and you mentioned it. In fact, Joe Flacco, they were working on a drill with him this week about a bag on a high stick that they were working around to test so that he would throw the ball over it. He's had so many batted passes this year.
Yeah, and sometimes are you staring down the receiver? Your pass rush, they're not going to get home, so they start to look at your eyes. A lot of these routes are underneath routes. We've seen the ones that have been batted down have been that check down or that underneath to get rid of the ball quickly at the end. So just having a little bit of trouble getting it through that D line.
Saints were aware of that and talked about that coming in on 3rd and a yard. Inside handoff. It was Max Williams, the tight end. So they've run a couple of different receivers, and now a tight end. We'll have another close spot. It is a 1st down. At least that's the ruling. Dennis Allen, defensive coordinator for the Saints. We said it was the Giants game when things really clicked for this Saints defense after they were humble, the word he used in that opener, in the loss to Tampa Bay. We're going to have a challenge, I think, on the spot.
New Orleans has challenged the previous play, forward progress in relationship to the line of the game. We'll review the play.
We've already had 3 challenges in this game. Ravens 1 out of 2. First challenge from the Saints. Sean Payton of the Saints, they lose the challenge on the spot. It was ruled enough progress for the 1st down, not enough to overturn it.
Yeah, and I think from his side, you're going to see Max Williams' feet kick up in the air, but he lands at the 48-yard line right where they've got the ball marked.
1st and 10 Ravens. 33-yard line. Flacco to throw. Cam Jordan put heat on and he had to get rid of it.
And the big reason this year, we've shown the stats that Joe Flacco's putting up in the passing game. And don't forget last season, he came into camp with a back issue. And he never really went through training camp last year and really just trying to get healthy from week to week to be able to play. Not a lot of opportunity to practice. So this season, new receivers, he's healthy. He's been able to go full through training camp and every day of practice.
Alex Collins straight ahead on a quick handoff, and he is just short of a first down. Although it seems like every spot is challenged. The Ravens hustle to the line. At least we've had that in the first half of this game. 3rd and a yard. Just under 12 minutes to go before the half. Saints passed up a chance at 2 chances at makeable field goals. And then on a 4th down pitch, it was fumbled. Ravens recovered.
Loosen, move up. Tonight! 180! But tonight!
Flacco keeps and gets the first down.
Nice push in the middle by that Ravens offensive line. And just having Chris Moore bail out like that, they call it a ghost. You know, you grab some attention with the eyes of the defenders, and all of a sudden you're not really focused in as intently as you would be.
And they set that up earlier when they ran Chris Moore on a receiver's sweep. Marty Morningwig, offensive coordinator of the Ravens, said that, and John Harbaugh said that Flacco's been more assertive this year.
Even Zorro!
Legit? Yeah.
No. 180! Where's it at?
To throw. Now he has to run, and incomplete. Collins had his back turned, but again, Cam Jordan was putting pressure on before Flacco could set up.
Getting the rush and the coverage in sync, and that was one of the things that defensive coordinator Dennis Allen told us they struggled with in week 1. They didn't have their rush game, their coverage game together. They get pressure on the quarterback right there, but then also as Joe Flacco breaks contain, nowhere to go.
Dennis Allen will have to prepare. I'm sure he did. Lamar Jackson, the first rounder from Louisville, is in. Flacco is a receiver. Jackson keeps and dives at the 50-yard line. He's played about 35 snaps, at least 2 in each game. That was his 18th run. He's only attempted 5 passes, completing 1 of them.
And very athletic by Cam Jordan, kind of reads it down inside, but then the ability to get back out and make a play on Lamar Jackson on the edge.
You gotta love it that you got 2 quarterbacks in Flacco and Breeze that have Super Bowl titles. They have an injured player, and yet they have backups that are part of the offensive game plan. In Taysom Hill and Lamar Jackson. That's Bradley Bozeman, already thin on the offensive line. The rookie from Alabama. And now this from Progressive.
There's Bradley Bozeman right in the center of your screen, number 77. Engaged with the blocker right there, and you know, right as he plants, he looks down right there. You wonder what happened on that one step. But as you pointed out, Chris, you know, he's in for Alex Lewis, and with James Hurst out as well. You know, the way that they covered that left guard spot, this is going to be a challenge for the Ravens.
He limps to the sideline. Aronas Grasu, free agent wearing number 61, will step into that left guard spot. Those are some of the Ravens as well as Ted Ginn, and on the offensive line for the Saints, Orlando Brown Jr., the rookie from Oklahoma, at the tackle spot. And Buck Allen, Javaris, call me Buck Allen, in at running back. Here's a flag, and a throw is caught. John Brown. Looked like the Saints jumped, but we'll check the flag.
Offside, defense, number 94, penalties decline, result of the play, first down.
Ravens are 3 out of 4 on 3rd down.
And now they'd start to get this passing game going a little bit, and smart by Joe Flacco. Watch Cam Jordan, second guy in. You see the little flinch right there.
A pickup of 13, Collins the back. Collins has it, and running violently as he usually does, but didn't go very far. David Onyemata from Nigeria, who played college football in Canada and now in New Orleans, making the play on Alex Collins, the former Seattle Seahawk. who came in with a 3.5-yard average.
Stop. Hang on, don't snap it.
After no gain. Flacco short to Collins, who is tackled right away at the 36-yard line. And it'll bring up another third down.
Yeah, both of these teams doing a really nice job of tackling, rallying up, and they're allowing those passes to be thrown underneath in the check down areas. But both teams doing a nice job rallying up with some sure tackles.
They need 8. Right now you're looking at a field goal in the range of 52, 53 yards if they get nothing.
Check. 3 jet. Ringo. Niagara. Hurry, get on.
Sideline throw and incomplete. Michael Crabtree the target. Coverage pretty good.
Good job by Marcus Williams being able to get across and help out Marshawn Lattimore right now. Just a little go route on the outside, turns him and watch the range right there as Marcus Williams gets there right as the ball arrives.
And on 4th down, the offense stays out there. 4th from the 35-yard line. They need 7 yards. Passing up a 52-yard field goal try. Flacco throws, catch made, and a first down, Ravens. John Brown, we are seeing some brazen calls by these two head coaches.
Well, the big thing you have to worry about with John Brown is that speed, but it's 4th down, so understand that he may be trying to push you, and he gets Ken Crawley to open those hips. He snaps his route off, and it's a good throw and catch with Joe Flacco.
A gain of 13 on a 4th down gamble. I mean, 4th and long.
Yeah. Right. Yellow. Drive. Gap 5-3. 180. It's right.
Allen trying to find room. Gets to the 20 and is shoved back by A.J. Klein.
Marty Mornhinweg, the offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens, comes from that Andy Reid tree, and that's that one philosophy. They're going to throw the ball early, they're going to try and move it that way, and then they'll come back later in the game, and they'll use that run game to kind of take that clock down. But he started with the run today, now he's kind of moved back into the strength of this Ravens offense, which is their passing game.
Flacco pumps, sideline throw, and almost intercepted. Willie Snead had 2 Saints converging on him. Marshawn Lattimore and Marcus Williams. Yeah, the Mornhinweg, the old school philosophy, throw the ball to score points, then you beat up the defense with the run. This was nearly intercepted.
Yeah, but a nice job here. They're going to back off and kind of draw some attention, and then you sneak the guy down the field. You've got Willie Snead there, but Marcus Williams is playing it from the safety position. Marshawn Lattimore drifting back from the corner position. They collide. They should have had an interception right there.
Lamar Jackson in at quarterback now. Buck Allen, the running back. Jackson to throw, and does. Brown has it inside the 15-yard line. It'll be short of the first down. Justin Tucker is coming out to try a field goal. Boy, a gutsy call the last time. Even though it would have been a long field goal, they didn't play the punt and defense game aggressive like Sean Payton was when it came to 4th down gambles. This will be a 31-yard try. He's hit on 90% of his field goals in his career. That is up and over the top and ruled good, just barely. The NFL's most accurate kicker. That's how close. Wow. Into the Baltimore sky. The Ravens get 3. First team to strike the Ravens on a 63-yard scoring drive, taking over 7 minutes. A 4th down gamble that paid off before Justin Tucker's field goal. which was close, as this will take Taysom Hill into the end zone. Let's show you how close. Now he's kicking into the wind, even though this is 31 yards. This is not reviewable if you had any doubt, but this angle, Daryl, shows clearly it's good.
Yeah, and it's going from the inside out, and it just has to be inside the outside edge of that upright.
So the NFL's most accurate kicker, and Justin Tucker went to the same high school as the NFL's most accurate quarterback, Drew Brees. They both went to Westlake High School in Austin, Texas. See that Brees, that wind kicking up a little. It's more advantageous going the other way.
Under 5-7.
Hey, line. Blitz. Brees escapes and gets it to Dan Arnold, the backup tight end. Let's check in with Laura.
I want to keep going with that wind discussion because it's not stopping. Very gusty down here today. If you'd ask Justin Tucker the most difficult place to kick, he says home. He says here since they've made the changes. I talked to Ravens special teams coach Jerry Rosberg, and he said, you want the intel? Here it is. There's no intel. These holes have changed the conditions. It's different. It's difficult. Wide open space. It makes it tough to kick.
Thanks, Laura. The wind swirling here, but Brees has it going with him at the moment. To the 35, a first down. Good protection. Floating it for Michael Thomas, who's got it. Thomas inside the 35 of Baltimore. First receiver with a catch for the Saints today.
Working from the inside position and just a little wheel and go, and Jimmy Smith kind of leaning on that outside move a little bit. That allowed Michael Thomas to get on top.
They hurry to the line, a gain of 32 from the 33 of Baltimore. Dan Arnold had his first career catch, the tight end, moments ago. Michael Thomas with that grab. Brees in a rhythm here. Completes again. Open at the 25 is Mark Ingram.
That's kind of interesting. I mean, Jimmy Smith, one of your better corners on the defensive side of the ball, and he's got Mark Ingram. So Mark Ingram he runs a good route, you know, snaps it out, gets back, gets the separation.
Gain of 8. Under 4.5 to play before the half. Saints 1 timeout, Ravens 2. From the 25-yard line of Baltimore.
Hey, check. By 7.
Kamara into a crowd, and he is shoved backwards. So the NFL's highest scoring offense, the Saints, on an average of 36 points a game. Off their bye week with 4 straight wins. Shutout so far.
Yeah, but they just continually stress you. And you can see just by this drive right here, you get that big splash play. These offenses, when they catch that momentum, that's the one thing you got to guard against.
We're going to have another measurement. Seems like there's either been a challenge on a spot or a measurement every few minutes in this first half. Is that a light or a ring or a magnifying glass on the official? The whistle. Oh, okay.
I don't hang them around the neck anymore.
Oh, okay. It's got that handy. Now they're trying to place the ball back since it was short by millimeters. The Saints effective on 4th down, but on 3rd down they're only 1 out of 6. 3rd, 10 inches. Brees keeps, and I'm hesitant because anymore he got the first down. I'm going to wait for the official to make the official ruling, and even then we'd have to have another look at it.
Well, anybody that argues that football's not a game of inches, and now we've got Josh Laribas down, and remember he's in for Andrus Peat. So boy, that left guard position today on both sides of these teams.
Reaching for his leg now. Jermon Bushrod is inactive. you do have, and Larry Warford is playing with a bad back that bothered him this week. You still have Michael Ola's been added. Cameron Tom is probably going to come in and take that guard spot. Second-year player who's from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and played at Southern Mississippi. Well, Darryl, I don't know if we expected this. We knew great defense, great offense. The two would collide, but a 3-0 game at this point, surprised?
I am. I really thought, I'm an offensive background guy, so I always cheer for offenses when we get into these types of matchups, but I'm impressed by the Ravens defense. They've got so much talent there, and we saw Jimmy Smith come off the edge. They've got so many guys that can bring pressure on the quarterback, but now we're starting to see that New Orleans Saints offense, a great offense. You can keep them down for a while, but they're going to find that personnel group. They're going to find that rhythm that they need, and on this drive right here, the Saints have finally kind of gotten into a rhythm where they put some positive plays together.
And you said you thought the other side that might tilt this game was how the Ravens offense does against the Saints defense. So they've moved the ball, but the Saints defense has only allowed 3 points, and that's pretty good considering where they were ranked or their statistics coming in.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that, how well Baltimore has run the ball when they've chosen to. I really think that the great matchup on that side is the passing game of the Ravens against the pass defense of the Saints.
On first down, Kamara straight ahead. He's got a first down, and he's brought down at the 10-yard line of Baltimore. Good ball fake inside by Drew Brees.
Again, it's just all the different things that they give you at the snap. You have to have your eyes. Here comes Taysom Hill. He's in there again. He's crashed to the inside. You've got a wide receiver coming back from depth. You've got, Alvin Kamara in the backfield, and you've got to do your job. Don Martindale's guys just have to do their job.
Taysom Hill comes back in. He's the one who fumbled the pitch the last time with Kamara. This time he hands off, and Kamara takes it straight to the 5-yard line.
We'll see if they just stay traditional down here, with Taysom Hill in there on this offensive set, staying in with Drew Brees. We talked about it before. That doesn't mean that they're just going to run him at quarterback. Sometimes he'll line up and break formation, and you're going to have to cover him. And you need to know he doesn't run like a quarterback. You've got to understand he's more like a running back. So when the ball is in his hand, this Ravens defense has to rally up.
Taysom Hill, who grew up idolizing, went to BYU. Steve Young, who texted him, and he didn't respond because he wasn't sure who it was. Now he knows all about Steve Young texting. 2-minute warning, 3-0 Baltimore. Keep a close eye on the Visa halftime report. The guys will have all the highlights games going on. The only undefeated team, the Rams, they're shutting out the 49ers 15-0. Redskins are shutting out the Cowboys, and they'll update all the earlier games as well. Here it's a 3-0 Ravens lead. One timeout for the Saints, 2 minutes before the half. Second and goal. Brees, 499 career touchdown passes, and that one sails between Michael Thomas, but a flag comes in.
Well, this will be interesting. This is one of those pick.
Pass interference, defense, number 22. Ball will be spotted at the 1-yard line, first and goal.
This is one of these plays they have down on the goal line. It's going to be there, but watch. Here's where the penalty's called. You're going to see the collision, but it's that route combination. It's not intentional. It's just the ball is thrown to that area, and it really could have been Traquan Smith, number 10, from the outside, who was going to pop open.
Well, a fresh set of downs now. First and goal as they move it up even closer. Quickly Brees to the line. Brees, end zone. He hit it. 500 career touchdown passes. The NFL's all-time passing yardage leader moves into elite company even further. A 1-yard touchdown pass as Benjamin Watson hauled it in. And Brees continues to amass milestone after milestone. Will Lutz, the one-time Raven, with the extra point. Breeze and the Saints lead 7-3.
Benjamin Watson right there, and it's a standard goal line play. You get the motion inside, you fake the handoff, play action, pops wide open in the right flat.
And you ask Breeze about records, whether it's yardage, hitting touchdown marks. He tries to be humble and talk about winning as long as it happens when the team is successful. And we really enjoyed the conversation with Tony Gonzalez on the Fox pregame show earlier. This is the special company he's in, and what'll be fun to watch is between him and Tom Brady, how those two duel and how long they're going to continue to play before they catch Peyton Manning and Brett Favre.
Well, that's probably the biggest question. And if you haven't had an opportunity to see the piece with Tony Gonzalez that Chris mentioned, please go back and watch that. It's very enjoyable. But both Tom and Drew are continually asked how much longer they're going to play, and the level that they're playing at right now at this stage of your career, I think they're the only ones who know. It's going to be interesting to see where those two end up when they finally decide to retire.
At age 39, he signed a 2-year contract prior to this year. And this will go back. It's funny because Sean Payton said, we don't sit down and have coffee and talk about our exit strategy. We're not thinking about that. But Mickey Loomis, the general manager, told me earlier in the year that as long as Drew Brees is healthy, he's going to be a part of the Saints. We want him here if he wants to be here. And there's no letting up in terms of his passion, his intensity, and his accomplishments. See how the Ravens respond. 2 timeouts, 1:53 remaining. Bradley Bozeman has come back in on the offensive line. Pass is caught by Willie Snead, who caught some of those touchdown passes from Drew Brees before being signed here as a free agent after the Saints offer wasn't as good as what Baltimore offered. 2nd and 2. That's a first down catch. Up across the 43, Snead again.
And you've got to understand that these offenses are so efficient in these situations. They'll move right down the field if you're going to just offer these little checkdowns.
Hey, Ringo!
John Brown, he's got speed. The Saints are trying to catch him. Brown brought down inside the 5. Marcus Williams saved a touchdown.
John Brown working on the outside. He's running the dig route, but here's the problem right there. Now you're in trouble. Now you've got that speed where he's going to be able to break away from everybody. Really good job by Marcus Williams with his angle, because John Brown has excellent speed. Makes a touchdown-saving tackle.
He covered 56 yards. He's the leading receiver in this game with 5 catches for over 100 yards. 3 tight ends, 2 running backs. Inside handoff. Buck Allen is smothered and knocked backward. And a timeout quickly with 20 seconds to go. Ravens will have 1 remaining. That's why that tackle was so big, keeping him out of the end zone given the amount of time here before the half. It kind of limits the amount of plays or play selection that Flacco can go with.
Absolutely. I mean, force him to get in from short yardage, but Marcus Williams with great hustle, to take the right angle, because John Brown, that's his forte. I mean, he has the breakaway speed, and you have to respect that. That's why he's able to work some of those underneath routes. You're sitting on that deep route, you think he's going to go away, all of a sudden he snaps it across the middle, and you're in a chase mode.
Flacco 125 yards through the air. The big play to Brown sets him up on 2nd and goal. Empty backfield. Flacco with time to look around. And incomplete, a flag in the end zone in the area of Marcus Williams and tight end Mark Andrews.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, defense, number 43, half the distance to the goal, 1st and goal.
Well, it's virtually impossible to maintain your coverage that long in that situation. So nice job by Joe Flacco extending the play. Marcus Williams, I mean, you're in man coverage across the board. There's Marcus Williams right here. He's going to be working against Josh Hill. That's just hard. I mean, you're holding the ball. You're holding the ball.
And you're holding the player.
180!
Flacco. Incomplete. 8 seconds remain.
We always use kind of 6 seconds as our cutoff point. So they've got a good shot at one more play down here, but it's got to come out quick. You can't have something like that where you're going to get on the corner and all of a sudden it gets extended. Understand that clock in your head. You've kind of done the repetition. You know that 6 second number. You'll feel it.
Yeah, it looks like Lamar Jackson has come into the game, who has run a few and thrown. Flacco is a receiver, and Collins the running back. Lamar Jackson has a Ravens touchdown. The first round draft pick from Louisville.
Yeah, good job by reading this. You're going to read right in here. Here's your 2 key guys as you watch the read zone right there. It's a good job finding your way through. Good job blocking up front by the guys, but real good feel by Lamar Jackson.
Justin Tucker, high snap. He has never missed an extra point. And that's saying a lot when you consider when they moved it back, and a number of kickers have had an issue, but he nails it after Lamar Jackson on his 18th pro carry gets his first career NFL touchdown.
Good job of feeling his way through. Cam Jordan trying to crash down in there, like the play call. Opened up everything we talked about that time. So that's one of the things you do. That's a quick hitting play inside. You eliminate that potential for an extended play where all of a sudden you get yourself into trouble with the clock.
What a response from the Ravens offense after Drew Brees took the Saints in for a touchdown. They were kind of slow dancing, and now they've sped the music up here. Each team getting into the end zone. And the Ravens will receive the ball to start the second half. Another advantage is they snap that ball with under 8 seconds to go before the half. And the Visa halftime report coming up. All the highlights, updates. Earlier, Carolina rallied to beat the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champs. Zach Line takes us to the half. Now let's take a look at the first half presented by DirecTV. More your thing, that's our thing. It's Drew Brees and his history-making 500th career touchdown pass, already the NFL's all-time passing yardage leader. But the Ravens respond and lead at the break here in Baltimore. Stick around. All the highlights on the Visa halftime report coming up. Time for today's Game Flow, brought to you by Progressive. Despite another history-making moment from Drew Brees, his 500th career touchdown pass, it's been a defensive struggle, and the hometown Ravens have the lead as they get ready to receive the second half kickoff.
Yeah, it really has been a defensive struggle, and for me, we talked about this at the top. We're kind of walking into that football lab to really see if that old statement, defense wins championships, is still true in today's NFL, the way the rules have been changed. And I would say, based on that first half, this Ravens defense is staying true to that.
Back to receive is Chris Moore. Will Lutz gets the second half started. And from his own 3-yard line, Moore across the 20 and knocked backward. Excellent special teams. Well, the Saints, Daryl Johnston, Chris Myers welcoming you to our view here in Baltimore. The Saints have had just 3 possessions, offensive possessions in the first half. So that's one way to play great defense for the Ravens. But this is shaping up, Daryl, and you tell us, more like a Ravens kind of game than a Saints kind of game.
Without a doubt. And it was one of the things that Sean Payton was concerned about. He didn't want this to unfold in the style that the Ravens like to play. And unfortunately, it has done just that. That 20-play drive with 0 points, kind of the big tone setter. So limited opportunities. So there's a premium on what you do with every possession.
Alex Collins with the carry and down to the field and Laura.
Interesting, because Sean Payton told me at halftime, Daryl, no surprises. He said a low-scoring first half, that's what we were expecting, and that's what we were hoping for. He said the biggest thing that led to that 1 touchdown drive that needs to lead to more tempo, pick up the tempo offensively and defensively, and he thinks it'll open up. John Harbaugh said we've handled the tempo well, need to keep doing that offensively, run the ball better. If they can protect Joe, get some chunk plays, they'll be good.
After a 7-yard gain, Collins will get the first down, shoved across the 35. Why do you think so many 4th down gambles, and I mean not just minimal yardage, but from each team in that first half?
Just kind of a tone setter here in the game. I think it's one of the things that I've taken away from what the Super Bowl was about last year with Philadelphia and New England. I thought that Doug Peterson kind of set the tempo for this year with his aggressive play calling. When you get into a game like this where it's evenly matched, there's going to be those opportunities to be aggressive as a head coach, and you're trying to take advantage of that. You're trying to create that extra possession.
Flacco to throw. Crabtree has it on the sideline.
Michael Crabtree working against Marshon Lattimore. Just a good snap, and now that's good timing on the throw. Really good location by Joe Flacco because it's outside. Marshon Lattimore does not have an opportunity to make a play on the ball.
First down at the 47 of Baltimore after gain of 11. That's Crabtree's first catch of this game. That's his second catch of this game as he falls inside the 45 of New Orleans.
And again, this is the matchup that I thought may give New Orleans problems. This passing game for the Ravens this year is much improved. We saw the numbers by Joe Flacco. He's got 3 new receivers here. They've established their chemistry pretty quickly here at the start of the season. So this is where I wanted to see what is that Saints defense going to do? Do they have some of those issues from early in the year figured out?
Yeah, 56. 180.
Allen has it and squirms on second down. Make that Gus Edwards, the rookie from Rutgers. We talked about the passing game and how Flacco is throwing more. They were 29th in the league last year, but they added John Brown, who we saw in the big play before the half, Michael Crabtree, and ex-Saint Willie Snead, and all have had an impact. And you see what they're averaging in the top 10. And the aerial game has them out in front today. On 3rd and short from just inside the 44. So that's a reason Flacco has improved skill set players around him. He's going to pitch to Collins, who is going to be brought down in the backfield by Demario Davis, and it's 4th down.
That is a great job by Demario Davis. I mean, he sees this coming and he just shoots to the outside. The inside-out pursuit. It was played down the line well by Joe Flacco, but just great vision and trust those instincts and inside-out pursuit by Demario Davis.
Sam Cook comes out. Now we're not seeing the 4th down gamble, the same kind of bold decision-making that we saw in the first half. At least not yet. Alvin Kamara watching the high kick. Lets it go. Oh, and what a play. Perfect position. The ball bounced right to him to down it, and it's Chris Moore at the 1-yard line. Kamara decided to let it go, and the Ravens special teams right on point. When your head coach, John Harbaugh, is rooted in special teams, as he was before being promoted, briefly a DB coach to head coach, and you're Chris Moore, extra credit for a play like that on the 46-yard punt to the 1. Mark Ingram may have lost a few inches.
It's one of the plays that'll get lost in the box score tomorrow when you're reading about this game, and it's a great play by Chris Moore. But Justin Hardy right here, number 34, don't peel off. You're kicking in. Don't allow Chris Moore to get down there. Now here's another heads-up play. Watch. He steps on the goal line. He's got to reestablish both feet in before he can touch that ball, or it's an illegal touch.
Outstanding play that put the Saints in a hole. On second down. Breeze from his own end zone, and the pass is caught. Tre'Quan Smith falling inside the 10. It'll bring up third down. Boy, it's noisy down in that end zone. And if you're trying to score in the second half against the Ravens this year, forget about it.
That is unbelievable. I mean, there's a lot of things that they've done so far this season. The 11 sacks last week against the Tennessee Titans. But what Don Martindale's defensive unit has done in the second half with their scoring is unbelievable.
Ravens lead the NFL in sacks, but they have yet to sack Breeze today. They have pressured him. 3rd and 2. The pitch to Mark Ingram, and he gets the first down. A clutch run to keep the chains moving for New Orleans.
That's a huge conversion coming off your 1-yard line. Watch Alvin Kamara, 41 flash right there. There he goes. You see the defensive movement right there. And here comes Mark Ingram the opposite way. Nice job by Teron Armstead getting out there, getting the way cleared.
Ingram is 9th carry. Kamara has run 7 times, and each of them has a couple of catches today. Ingram again. Gets up to the 20-yard line, maybe to the 21 as he fell forward. That first half, C.J. Mosley was involved on some 7 or 8 tackles. But this Ravens defense, best in the league when it comes to giving up points, the fewest, allowing just 13 points a game.
That's the most important thing. You saw those ranks, those #1 ranks in the various areas. It's scoring. This game is all about scoring. It doesn't matter how many yards you're giving up, but the great thing about this Ravens defense, #1 in scoring.
Kamara's in trouble. Oh, they were ready for that. 3 Ravens brought him down, including Tavon Young from his corner spot. Laura?
You talked about the pressure they've been able to get. This doesn't help. Josh Laribas, we saw him leave late in the second half, still not out there. He is questionable with an ankle injury, Chris.
All right, thank you, Laura. So Cameron Tom came in. Number Andrus Peat with that concussion, inactive today. And it has showed. Michael Thomas can't handle it. It's 4th down. Forward pass ruled incomplete and off his hands.
This tells you how well this Ravens defense is playing. When you talk about putting a team under pressure, Michael Thomas has been phenomenal. Him and Drew Brees together have been phenomenal this year. 46 completions out of 49 targets coming into the game. They have struggled with that connection during the course of the game today.
Only 1 catch in the game for Thomas. He's been targeted a handful of times. He's had a couple of drops. Unusual for him. Morstead with a booming kick. Remember, it was the Sam Cook punt that put him in the hole. Cyrus Jones with a good return, just short of the Baltimore 40. Joe Flacco, 11 of 18, 145 yards. His team has the lead and the football. M&T Stadium in Baltimore, at one time that stood for Manufacturers and Traders, originating bank back in Buffalo. But here in Baltimore, 7.5 remaining in the 3rd quarter. First down, Ravens. Flacco completes up across the 45-yard line. Nick Boyle is tight end. Hey, the World Series Tuesday on Fox. Dodgers against Mookie Betts and the Red Sox. Game 1 from Fenway of the Fall Classic. 7:30 Eastern on Fox. Also on the Fox Sports app. Drew Brees wears number 9 in honor of Ted Williams, the great Red Sox. He's a big fan, big sports fan. Back in '88, last time Dodgers won a World Series, this is the way things looked. Where were you back in 1988? In the here and now, Flacco's pass is incomplete for Michael Crabtree. Where were you back in '88?
I was still at Syracuse University.
Before your Cowboy and Super Bowl days?
We were in the midst of my senior year, '88, '89.
I was just beginning with a 4-letter network as they were continuing to grow in the golden years. Covered the back end of that series. You're watching the NFL on Fox. Saints have won 4 in a row. Ravens 4-2 after being on the road for 3 straight. Lamar Jackson is back in. He had the touchdown run right before the half. He gives this time to, he keeps after faking to Collins and gets it up for the first down. You know, we talked to both coaches and coordinators, Daryl, and we knew there were plays put in for Lamar Jackson and Taysom Hill, the reserve quarterbacks, but I didn't think we would see that much of them already.
Well, especially with Taysom Hill, that opportunity for him has been expanding from week to week to week, and they use him in a lot of different ways. And Lamar Jackson the same way. It's third downs, it's red zone, it's the key situational areas on the field for Lamar.
Collins runs into a wall but keeps going. And inside the 45 of the Saints.
And this is the one goal that I think that Marty Mornhinweg has accomplished here as offensive coordinator for the Ravens is being efficient with the run game. It didn't need to be dominant, but it needed to be efficient to slow down that Saints pass rush.
2nd and 4, Flacco. Wide open and dropped. Willie Snead, who celebrated a birthday this week and has a dozen family and friends here to watch him against his former team.
You see him at the top, a little bit of flow coming out of the back of that helmet, and he's wide open in the middle of the field. And just got to look it all the way in. Sometimes you see him kind of looking up to see where everybody is before they've got that ball secured.
3rd down now. Ravens 4 out of 8 so far today. Only a 3-man rush on Flacco, and he's dancing around. Sideline throw for Crabtree. He made the catch at the 25-yard line. I don't know how he made the catch, but he came down with it.
Is one of the things you see about Joe Flacco when you watch him on tape. He's so calm in the pocket. Everything's breaking down. He knows he's going to take a hit. He steps up. He's got strong arm. He can throw off at different platforms. Great job.
Quick snap to Buck Allen, 4th-year player from USC. So with Alex Collins, Buck Allen, and the rookie Gus Edwards, that's pretty much the Ravens running game unless you throw in Lamar Jackson.
And he had the big run last week, so it's situational for Lamar, but it's exactly how Marty Mornhinweg wanted to do this. It's not going to take over the game, but you've got to have that element to keep that defense honest.
Well in field goal range of Justin Tucker. Blitz coming. Picked up. Pass is caught. Down at the 10-yard line by Chris Moore, who made the big special teams play a moment ago.
Working the middle of the bunch route right there, man coverage, getting picked up downfield. With the release, he had already gotten the steps on Ken Crawley.
And here comes Lamar Jackson into the huddle with Joe Flacco. And Flacco as a receiver to the bottom part of your screen. It's Collins inside the 10. Well, there's a lot to keep track of. Quarterbacks coming off the bench, quarterbacks lining up as receivers.
The weird thing for me is I've always felt in that situation, because Joe Flacco just goes outside and he just stands there. So when you have a guy like Lamar Jackson at quarterback, you want all 11 guys involved in that, because that makes your defense cover that extra gap. So I'm always amazed it's as successful as it is in these spots on the field.
4 wide receivers on 2nd and goal. Flacco throws, catch made, and into the end zone. Mark Andrews with a Ravens touchdown.
Andrews working against Von Bell. Von Bell is one of the players that I like. It's pushed outside. His eyes were not on his guy. You could see him look outside right before the snap on the ball, and that's all Mark Andrews needed to get out and get that separation.
The rookie from Oklahoma, drafted in the 3rd round on the receiving end. Extra point. Never missed one in his career. Justin Tucker gives the Ravens a 10-point 3rd quarter lead. 4 wide receivers in the game, and Flacco went to his tight end to get him in. Flacco with a touchdown toss, capping the scoring drive from Baltimore, with Darryl Johnson, Laura Oakman down on the field, Chris Myers. Hope you're enjoying the NFL on Fox. Couple of division leaders. Taysom Hill, the backup quarterback, who's come in quite a bit to help Breeze back to return, and he'll down that. Comes out to the 25-yard line. We have not had a sack of either quarterback in this game. They have been pressured. Drew Brees, who, in case you missed it earlier, threw his 500th career touchdown pass, has not thrown an interception this year. Today, he's only thrown the ball 16 times, completing 11, but the Saints have only had the ball. This is now just their 5th possession.
Yeah, they've run less than 40 plays. There's only 39 plays. And you talk coming into this second half about the game unfolding the way that the Ravens preferred it. Sean Payton was concerned about that. They've continued to do that here in the 3rd quarter, limiting the opportunities for this Saints offense.
Alvin Kamara fights hard to get up across the 30-yard line. Mentioned the magical moment down at the 1-yard line. Brees, his 500th, as he flipped it to Benjamin Watson.
Now taking to the quarterback pocket with the vision for Drew Brees and what he saw on that play. But just amazing what he's been able to accomplish throughout his career.
Only Favre and Manning and Brady have had 500 touchdown passes or more. Second and 5 from the pocket. Ball was deflected, but somehow Michael Thomas came up with a catch and eventually fell across the 35-yard line for a first down.
Really good job here on his concentration, because this is going to get tipped and he's got to wait on it a little bit. We've seen him with a couple of drops so far this afternoon, but that's a heck of a catch right there, stabbing it with that backhand.
Came in as the Saints leading receiver. That's just his 2nd catch of this game. Off his mark, Brees has to get rid of it. There was nothing open.
And you could hear him before that snap, the 4 down, 5-7. So that means there's only 4 down linemen coming on that rush. They've designated 57 as the 5th if he comes in, but they're getting that pressure with the 4. And it was one of the big concerns here. When you play the Ravens defense, they've got so many players on that side of the football that are good blitzers, and they come from the linebacker level, secondary level. So when they can get pressure with just that 4, now you're having a tough time.
Silver 5-7. Check that. Silver 4-8. And a gold 4-8.
Mark Ingram knocked down right away. It'll bring up 3rd down and long. Saints are just 3 out of 9 on 3rd down. They were 3 out of 4 on 4th down, including an early fake punt from his own territory. Sean Payton was aggressive, passing up a chance, 2 chances at a field goal. Blitz. Brees. Catch made by Michael Thomas, who gets the first down. Coming back to the football as Brees let it go.
There's Tony Jefferson right there, number 23. Watch him loop around and time this perfect. He's going to come free, gets to the outside. It's just amazing. The competition, the competitive spirit hangs in there as long as he can, gets enough on that.
And remember, just under 6 feet. Breeze making the play.
Hey, 4 down, 5-7.
From the 47 of New Orleans. Open. Breeze connects. Tre'Quan Smith. It took him a while to find him, but he's inside the 30 of the Ravens. Ruled a catch. Let's check his feet.
Great job rolling to his left. Gets enough on it. They lose Tre'Quan Smith. God, it looks like that right foot might have been on the white at the beginning.
No challenges left for the Ravens. Remember, they were 1 out of 2 in the first half. Quickly snapped, so the play is history. And the catch by Smith again goes down to the 16-yard line. Third quarter winding down, and the Saints are on the move. It is a first down. Ravens went up 10 on this play, but the Saints are knocking on the door after 3 in the battle of division leaders. Start of the fourth quarter. Harold Johnston, Chris Myers, Laura Oakman down on the field, and the Ravens have not allowed a point in the second half this year.
And just for everybody, during commercial, we actually went back, looked at some highlights. Mike Pereira feels there was not enough there to reverse that call. So the fact that the Ravens are out of challenges right now did not hurt them in that situation with a catch by Tre'Quan Smith on the sideline.
First down from the 16 of Baltimore. Breeze is 4 out of 5 on this drive. Kamara slashes his way through. He's inside the 10. It took 3 Ravens to eventually bring him down. His 10th carry. Mark Ingram has carried 11 times, and each has a couple of catches, so they have balanced that part of the Saints offense. Sean Payton calling the plays into Drew Brees. It's been a happy and a successful marriage over the years. Taysom Hill comes in once again at quarterback. Gives to Kamara, who gets the first down, and that's what you have to worry about, right? If you're the Ravens defense, he can hand it off, he can run it, or he can throw it. And Breeze lining up as a receiver.
You think they have that one dialed in there? Yeah, with throwing it out to Breeze.
Well, we've seen that with Nick Foles and Tom Brady.
Absolutely.
And I don't know that I'd take the ball out of his hands in the fourth quarter. Yeah. The number is impressive, like everything else is in the career of Drew Brees.
Look at that. Look at that completion percentage in the fourth quarter, almost 80%.
First and goal. Brees rolling and throwing, and Michael Thomas catches, but not nearly enough to get him into the end zone as the clock runs 13.5.
And the big thing down there is being able to run the football. That Alvin Kamara, and that's why we do see Lamar Jackson for the Ravens in the red zone. Why we do see Taysom Hill in the red zone for the Saints, because it adds that other runner. Now you've got to defend a true 11-man offense.
That's Taysom Hill in motion. He can also catch the football. Alvin Kamara has to work his way down to the 2. Kamara came in averaging almost 5 yards a carry and second on the team in catches. He's got 5 rushing touchdowns and 1 receiving. Today, Ravens have done a good job on him. 12 carries, averaging 3.5. Quick snap. Kamara in a crowd and into the end zone for a touchdown, Saints. His 6th touchdown on the ground this year.
He's explosive in the open field, but the ability to be a physical runner between the tackles. Watch him push the pile from this side view. That's what makes him dangerous in the red zone, because you can open that formation. He's got a great skill set in the open field, and now he's become a real powerful runner inside as well.
Will Lutz, who was released by the Ravens back in 2016. because Justin Tucker was here. Has been a great find for the Saints. He nails the extra point. And it looks like there's a flag down back at the 15-yard line, and we'll check on that in a moment. Drew Brees does something with this Saint offense nobody's been able to do in the 7th game of the season against the Ravens defense, and that's get a touchdown in the second half.
Yeah, just a great job by Don Martindale and his group all season up until that point. But again, it's something that it's going to be a give and take. You see right there, the most points scored by a team in the 4th quarter is owned by the Saints offense. You know, the Ravens have not given up a touchdown in the second half up until that last drive. So it's strength versus strength. And one of the things I loved about this weekend talking with the coaching staffs was Don Martindale's talk about, hey, this is not a complimentary league. It's a responsive league. I thought that was tremendous. I never really thought of it that way before, but it is. It's ebbs and flows of momentum, and how do you respond? So let's see now. They've just given up their first touchdown in the second half all season long. What does the offense do to respond to help that defense?
Ravens offense responded well right before the half after Brees threw the touchdown pass, and they scored as this kick will sail into the end zone and come out to the 25-yard line. Thursday night football this week. The Dolphins go to Houston. Texans had a big win. Deshaun Watson and the Texans playing good football. Thursday night, 7:30 Eastern on Fox, NFL Network, and streaming on Prime Video. Troy Aikman, Joe Buck, Aaron Andrews on the call. NFC South, the Panthers and Buccaneers won today. Atlanta plays Monday night. AFC North, the Steelers are off this week. Cleveland lost. Bengals take on Kansas City a little later on. From the 25-yard line, the pitches to Alex Collins. And watching him with his free-flowing hair, I know I was talking to Mike Pereira about this, Daryl, the Rules Committee, Al Riveron, saying they're discussing this week the idea it's legal to tackle someone by the hair and pull them down. They're discussing the possibility of making that illegal in the game.
Yeah, I'm surprised that it has been legal, and we haven't really seen it done more frequently than we've had. We've got a number of guys with those dreads at skill positions.
And Bradley Bozeman is injured once again. We will check on him in just a moment. Bradley Bozeman replaced by Hronis Grasu at the guard spot. He was injured earlier and came back in, and Laura Oakman telling us it was a calf injury previously. See if he can return from this one. Facing a 2nd and 10. Flacco with time. Incomplete. Crabtree the target.
Nice job with the coverage by the Saints on that play. That's that single high safety. What they were playing a lot of in that Week 1 game against Tampa Bay, that's one of the corrections they've made. They've gotten more split safeties, which is 2 safeties deep, but there they roll it. They go man-to-man, leave a single safety back there, and have good coverage across the field.
It's helped out Marshawn Lattimore, who was in the concussion protocol earlier in the week. He does not have an interception this year. Came in with just 1 pass defensed. On a 3rd and 10, Flacco is on the move, and pressure coming. He's going to go down. The Saints with a sack back at the 15-yard line. Alex Okafor.
So on this one, you can see they go back to the 2 deep safeties, so that's split safeties, and they're going to play man underneath it. And watch the coverage across the field. Nowhere for Joe Flacco to go with the football.
And John Brown, no catches in the second half after he had 5 for over 100 yards in the first half. Sam Cook standing inside his own 2. Alvin Kamara backing up inside the 35 of the Saints with some room. Cuts upfield and is brought down at the 44. Good return to set the Saints up. Trailing by 3. The Saints defense giving its offense a chance to tie this game. Really a beautiful night in Baltimore and a full moon. Maybe that's why we've seen all these crazy 4th down gambles and challenges and spots, and just 2 good football teams. The strengths going at it right now with the Saints offense against the Ravens defense. Saints have already scored 14. The Ravens were only giving up 13 a game coming in, best in the league. Drew Brees has never beaten the Ravens. It's the only NFL franchise he doesn't have a win against. And he's going to go down at the 36-yard line. Terrell Suggs, who called Breeze an ageless wonder.
Coming off the right side, and you motion a tight end over there. You got a back to help out. You bring the extra guy. You get Terrell Suggs in a one-on-one situation against a tight end. That's not fair. That's not fair. Even at 16 years in the NFL, it's not fair.
He's 15th on the NFL all-time sack list. That's his now 5.5 sacks this year. Breeze over the middle. Benjamin Watson to the 46 of New Orleans. It'll bring up third down. They need to get to the 46 of Baltimore for a first down. Last time they had the ball, the Saints marched 75 yards in 12 plays. Got a touchdown. They hurry to the line here without a huddle. Low snap. They did that to try to avoid the crowd noise, and a catch made at the 45 by Watson for a first down. Boy, that quick snap caught the defense.
Well, again, it's that responsive element again, and you have the sack on first down, and just an excellent job by Drew Brees and the Saints getting that first down.
Watson with his 6th catch. That leads all receivers in this game.
Silver 5-7.
Kamara inside the 40.
We saw that graphic that the Ravens, the only team that Drew Brees and Sean Payton together have not been able to knock off. I think the big thing there, they've created this standard. And you go back through history, and whether it's Air Coryell or, the Montana Walsh 49ers, the greatest show on turf, this offense has been more prolific than any of those. So the fact that they have still not been able to knock off this Ravens team is remarkable, because there has been a standard set there offensively by this group.
On 2nd and 6, protection. Michael Thomas slices inside the 30 down to the 26 and another first down.
And doesn't it seem like for both of them, it's just a matter of time? I mean, you can hold them down, and I think that's what great offenses do. We talk about defenses stressing out their opponents. Drew Brees and Sean Payton together, that's what they have done during their time, is they put so much stress on the defense. You're one snap away from a big play. You're one snap away from kind of losing the momentum of that game.
Sean Payton, maybe that's when he said he didn't mind the way the game went in the first half. We'll go that route, and then we're going to turn it up here. The fact that they can do it against this defense as Kamara carries again is absolutely impressive. Down to the 20-yard line. And Drew Brees, we mentioned he would join if he were to beat the Ravens. So remember, he was a San Diego Charger at the time, and beat the Saints. So that allows him, if he wins here, to have defeated all 32 teams. The only others to do it are Peyton Manning and Brett Favre. They changed teams in their careers. Obviously, Tom Brady has never been away from the Patriots.
Easy. Kill. 5-0. 5-0. Let's check that back. 4-8.
2nd and 4. Pass is low and incomplete. Trying to get to Dan Arnold. It's going to bring up third down.
Makes a nice break to the inside, but good close on the defensive side by Brandon Carr. Doesn't come through the back of the player, gets the arm inside to knock the ball away.
On third down today, the Saints are 6 out of 12. Here comes Taysom Hill. Three's a receiver. Hill is in trouble. Lunges forward. It's going to be close with that yellow line, kind of a guideline for us. Maybe another measurement. Sean Payton says it's first down.
That's one of the things that all the Ravens players talked about when Taysom Hill comes into the lineup. Don't look at him as a quarterback. Yeah, he's listed as a quarterback, but he doesn't run like one. He's very physical. He's very strong.
That's 6'2", 225. They're saying it is fourth down. I don't know if we're going to get another challenge on a spot or not. Well, you think Darryl, instead of passing up a game-tying field goal, and that's the direction where the wind is in your favor with Will Lutz, who's been very capable. Here we go. A gamble from the head coach, Sean Payton.
If he stays true to what he's done the entire game, I expect him to go for it here on 4th down. Even though the field goal gives you a tie, now you're going through the rest of the game with maybe overtime on your mind. But really, the way he has played this game from start till this point, he's been very aggressive with his play calling. Why would you change right now?
And you think limited possessions against this Raven defense, when you get the chances down here, you might as well go for them. You see that's how close. There's Pete Carmichael, offensive coordinator there behind Sean Payton. It would be a 36-yard field goal, but that's not in the cards for this offense. Not right now.
Consistency with your style of play, consistency with your coaching style. We'll see if they're just going to try and draw them off.
Quick snap. As loud as it's been here.
Yeah, everybody's excited here because they saw Drew Brees get pushed back, but he jumped up and he stuck the ball forward. So it's the distance that ball travels. It's risky because if you get big push underneath by the defensive line, you could come up short.
The side
but you
view.
See the extension.
Oh, he got it. He reached across, and it's a 1st down. And there is no challenge, as we pointed out earlier, no challenge left for the Ravens, who were 1 out of 2. John Harbaugh in the first half. On 4th down tries today, Sean Payton and the Saints are 4 out of 5. And Hill is in the backfield behind Brees with Kamara in motion. The pitch to Taysom Hill, who gets a block. And he's got another Saints 1st down. The second-year quarterback from BYU who returns kicks and does other things.
He's the Swiss Army knife of this offense. I mean, he can do just about anything. And again, we're seeing why the respect that the Raven defenders had for him and what they have to do to get him to the ground. He is physical. He does not run like a quarterback at all.
He's already 28 years old. He did the Mormon mission in Australia. I mentioned Brigham Young, where Steve Young played, and of course texted him to say, "You're doing just great." He didn't know who it was, so he didn't answer. And then eventually Steve Young left his name and he responded. Ingram carries and shoved backwards. By the way, our director Brian Lilly and our producer Fran Morrison with us. Darryl Johnston, Laura Oakman down on the field. Chris Myers. Hope you're enjoying another close game here. The NFL on Fox.
Just so many weapons when they get down into the red zone for this Saints offense. Kamara coming back onto the field right now. Mark Ingram and Taysom Hill going off. They can just throw so many different things at you that you have to account for defensively.
Second and goal. Brees, the throw, the catch, and touchdown! Michael Thomas. He showed good hands on that play after a couple of struggles earlier.
It's the release off the ball. You're going to see the stutter and then the break inside. Great timing. There's the chemistry that we're used to seeing between those two.
Working against Jimmy Smith. Brees put it right where it had to be. There wasn't a lot of room. And they're confirming, the officiating crew is making sure, and it has been okay. Saints have the lead in the 4th quarter. You saw those Brees numbers before when it gets to crunch time. And he gets them through again. His second touchdown pass, 501st of his career. Will Lutz with the extra point. And it was Michael Thomas who said, "I treat my hands and fingers like a kicker treats his feet." Very, very important. And there's another flag down. We'll check on that in a moment. There was an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on the Ravens of Darius Smith.
Yeah, the contact with the long snapper. It's a protected position. You can see right there as the ball is kicked, number 49, Zach Wood getting driven back. He's a defenseless player on that position.
for safety is the reason that is in and enforced. And so the penalty puts the ball, it's enforced on the ensuing kickoff. Morstead ready to kick off all the way up to midfield at the 50-yard line. And before he does, Drew Brees with a touchdown pass to Benjamin Watson, 500th in his career. Alvin Kamara in the second half, and then Brees again to Michael Thomas.
A Ravens defense that hadn't given up a touchdown in the second half all season long has given up 2 to this Saints offense. So as good as it was built, the #1 offense in the NFL versus the #1 defense in the NFL, it's been fantastic. And we talked at the top, what do you think it's going to come down to? We felt it would be Joe Flacco and the Ravens offense versus the Saints defense, and that's going to be the matchup after this kick.
Well, do you think the Saints, Sean Payton would try an onside kick? I mean, he did it in a Super Bowl. The Ravens have their hands, folks, up. Morstead instead boots it deep. Chris Moore from the 5, and he's tackled inside the 15. Taysom Hill on the special teams tackle.
Well, you saw how high they were able to get that ball up in the air in a short distance. So he's one of your fastest guys on your coverage team. So he's going to be there about when your returner catches the ball.
Yeah, penalties hurt the Ravens. Some pass interference penalties in the first half, and then they've had a couple off the extra points that have affected the kickoffs. The Saints only 2 penalties accepted today. They're one of the least penalized teams in the league this year. Bradley Bozeman is back in at guard. Flacco for Crabtree, and here comes a flag. He was smothered by Lattimore.
Pass interference, defense, number 23, automatic first down, spotted the foul.
Lattimore is a rookie last year, rookie of the year on defense. He had 5 interceptions and 18 passes defensed. Again, no picks this year, and very few passes defensed. In fact, he said he wants teams to throw at him more. Well, they did there, and the penalty hurt, a 16-yard penalty. Ravens up to the 30. Pressure on Flacco, and had to get rid of it. Crabtree grabbing the jersey of the defensive back, but the ball had sailed by. The blitz came from the corner, and Ken Crowley.
Good timing by Ken Crowley on that blitz. He was left without anybody there to pick him up, so he had a free run at Joe Flacco.
Well, you said this could be the decision making as Weddle looks on. The Ravens offense against the Saints defense. The other two, we know what they're all about. Pass is on target and a first down. And John Brown has reappeared in this game.
One thing you have to respect is that breakaway speed, and that enables John Brown to run the little routes like that, the break-off routes, the comebacks, the hooks. We saw him with the big catch at the end of the half with an in route. Got to respect that speed.
Hey, I'm boxing, Bills.
Pickup of 17 yards. Flacco with a screen. Buck Allen crosses midfield and is knocked down right away.
Really good job by Daniel Onyemata and also Cam Jordan. It's a screen, and just retracing on that. You had your defender come up from the secondary, missed the tackle, but you had great hustle by your down lineman from the inside out.
See Bozeman on that offensive line, which is missing a couple of starters. He comes back out now, so Grasu goes in for him on 2nd and 7. Flacco well protected here, but he can't find anybody and throws it away. It'll bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, really good preparation right here. Sheldon Rankins, number 98. Keep an eye on him right here. Watch, he's going to be the guy that drops out in that zone, and he drops right into the spot where Joe Flacco wanted to go to Willie Snead. Good defense, great call at that time by Dennis Allen.
Flacco tipped away and almost intercepted. Marshawn Lattimore making the play in the Saints secondary.
Working on the outside right here. Watch, he's going to trail a little bit, then he's going to undercut this. He plays a heavy outside ledger. He played that perfectly. The only thing he didn't do was finish it with the interception.
And on 4th down and 7, they went for it once before in the first half, did the Ravens, and converted. They're going for it here with under 4 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. The rush on Flacco, the throw is incomplete. Here comes a flag. Willie Snead was the target, falling at the 40 with P.J. Williams on the coverage. This is a big penalty. And I think one of the Saints is saying the ball might have been tipped and deflected. That's what Sean Payton is saying.
Pass interference, defense, 26, automatic first down, spotted foul.
Well, they're calling it on P.J. Williams.
Yeah, Willie Snead's right here. He's going to come out of the top of the bunch. And let's just see, when you get to the top, you've got your back turned. So P.J. Williams has got his back to the quarterback. And that puts you in a bad position because you lose your eyes on him.
Ball was not deflected as Alex Collins tries to turn the corner. Collins, who's been busy today, third-year running back from Arkansas, who, when he was in high school, took up Irish dance. He wanted to work on his conditioning and footwork. Still enjoys it. Says it helps him as a running back. Actually, it was right before the NFL draft, and he was with the Seahawks last year after he was cut. The Ravens brought him in, and he's been their starting running back.
Times change. Herschel Walker did a little bit of ballet. Alex Collins does the river dance.
Whatever works for you. Buck Allen is in at running back. Empty backfield for Flacco. Open, knocked away at the last moment by Ken Crowley. Hayden Hurst was the target.
I have to see if Joe could have got that there on a little bit more of a line, because he floated it. It gave Ken Crawley the opportunity to get back and make a play, because he's got Hayden Hurst open down the seam. I don't know. I think he could have brought him into the middle of the field on a little bit more of a line, and then you take away the opportunity for Ken Crawley to come off his guy and make that play.
Big defensive play by Crowley. After that, P.J. Williams pass interference kept the drive alive for Baltimore. Incomplete. Willie Snead was the target. Anti-tail on the coverage. And it's going to be 4th down and 6. You're looking at a field goal in the 54 range, but they went on 4th and 7 and converted not only in the first half, but moments ago.
And remember, this is the end of where if there is wind out there, you'd be kicking into the wind going this direction.
Looks like we had a timeout before the snap, and it was the Saints who called it. Looks like he was talking to Marshawn Lattimore. Saints timeout. Now this from Progressive. Saints use a timeout. They have 2 remaining, 3 for John Harbaugh, who trails by 4 with under 3.5 to play, and another 4th down gamble. I don't think the Saints had actually all 11 players on the field. That's why they had to call timeout, but they've got their defense set now. Flacco protected, hesitates, throws, and knocked away. A Raven had a shot at it, then a Saint had a shot at it. Bottom line is, Saints take over on downs. Willie Snead was the target. And kind of an awkward-looking throw on a 4th down play.
Well, an awkward-looking throw, and then also watch is he's going to go down the field. He's going to break to the inside and then back to the outside, but you're running right towards John Brown as well. So you really kind of condense that area.
One of the receivers might have made the mistake, not Flacco, on where he put that football.
Boy, Alex Okafor too. Don't even give them the opportunity to throw the flag. No reason to hit Joe Flacco at that point.
Extra cautious. Williams, after that penalty, thankful his teammates helped him put the stop on Harbaugh and the Ravens. So 2 out of 3 on 4th down tries for Baltimore. The Saints are 4 out of 5 today, going for it on 4th down.
Hey, go! 5-0, 5-0, 5-0.
Blitz is coming. Breeze is throwing. Turnaround catch made. Dan Arnold, the third string tight end. The ball was in the air before he ever turned around.
And that just shows you the confidence that this offense has. I mean, to be in this situation, a lot of people are going to think you're going to come out, run the ball, take time off the clock. You're going down the field with an explosive play to a guy who hasn't had a whole lot of playing time to this point in his career. He's a rookie from Wisconsin Platteville.
Actually a second-year undrafted free agent, but only a second catch of his career.
48, ready, Blue 80, what's up?
Kamara has it, and maybe a yard or two. Well, the Ravens have 3 timeouts. They'll also have the 2-minute warning.
I mean, Sean Payton's play calling, just his game management all day, extremely aggressive. You know, starting with the fake punt there in that first quarter, that opening drive, the first 4th down situation.
He knew the kind of game he'd be in. He's never beaten John Harbaugh head-to-head. Both coaches talking about the strength of the other head coach and their team coming in. Kamara, no, Hill. It's Taysom Hill faking to Kamara. And Taysom Hill gets a first down for the Saints.
I'm going to take you right into the decision-making area for Taysom Hill, reading that zone read. Matthew Judon squeezes down a little bit too much, and he's out on the edge.
In a game where Drew Brees gets his 500th and 501st touchdown pass, Taysom Hill is playing a key role for this New Orleans team as you see what the Saints have been able to do against this top-ranked Ravens defense today. That's Taysom Hill in motion. And we have a whistle and a flag. Delay of game.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Sean Payton, the one thing about that last play that he's not going to be happy with, Taysom Hill going out of bounds to stop that clock. That's one of the things you've got to understand. Get down inside the field of play to make that clock. You could have taken this all the way down to 2 minutes or forced John Harbaugh's hand to use a timeout going into that 2-minute warning.
Taysom Hill has run 6 times today for 35 yards in some key spots. But on 1st and 15, he's back at the quarterback spot. Drew Brees, top of your screen as a receiver. Kamara gets the football, and he gets 10 yards just like that. Or at least much of that penalty yardage back, and the Ravens are going to use a timeout. You know, Taysom Hill, he's not your typical third quarterback. Fast, he's on kickoff returns, kick coverage teams. He had his first NFL touchdown in the last game against Washington on a 1-yard run. And Teddy Bridgewater is here as well as the backup to Drew Brees. But boy, Sean Payton loves him as part of the offense.
It was amazing. In one of the preseason games this year, he had a rushing touchdown, he had a passing touchdown, he had a tackle on special teams, he ran a fake punt for a first down. It's just unbelievable. And if you're going to do something, you're going to have a guy like that, the best place he could be is here with Sean Payton, who's going to maximize what he brings to that position.
Undrafted free agent, the Packers had him in camp. Saints sign him, and Sean Payton has put him to work. Alvin Kamara has rushed for 64 yards on 17 carries to lead all running backs, or all those on the ground. I guess we have to throw Taysom Hill in there from the 25-yard line now on 2nd and 7. Breeze caught down at the 21. It's Michael Thomas short of the first down. That's another Ravens timeout. They'll have 1 remaining and the 2-minute warning. 39-year-old Drew Brees coming off the record-breaking Monday night performance his 500th career touchdown pass.
And again, if you haven't seen it, go back and watch the interview with Tony Gonzalez. It's one of the best ones I've seen about Drew Brees, because they get into a discussion about one of the things that I think makes him unique. And yeah, he's only 6 foot tall, like 6 1/4 inch, he'll tell you. But the big thing is everything that's within his control, he has maxed out, from his preparation to his mechanics to his nutrition. Everything that he is possibly in control with, he has taken it to the utmost level.
And I know he said, I realize I'm closer to the end of my career, obviously, but I have to play this as moment to moment in terms of how long he wants to play after that surgery years ago and the rebuilt arm. I have a feeling this guy will go for the touchdown record. Him and Tom Brady will be chasing that. Right now, trying to chase his 5th straight win on 3rd and 3. He's pointing to the receiver, and the receiver never came back to the football. And it's 4th down. That's a big stop by the Ravens now. I think Sean Payton can't gamble here, right? You got to kick the field goal.
No, exactly. Make it take it to a touchdown lead, 7-point lead. But the big thing there is as much trust as he had put in Taysom Hill during the course of that drive. You know, in that situation right there, I know it's hard to take the ball out of Drew Brees' hands, but we've seen him do it a number of times today.
Will Lutz from 39 yards away. And the kick makes it through. Gets through that left upright to expand the lead to 7.
Yeah, it looked like it might have been being pulled a little bit to the left there, but he snuck it inside.
Well, the Saints did 2 things there, Daryl. They were able to take some time off the clock, get the Ravens to use 2 of their 3 remaining timeouts, or so they have 1 left, and then they were able to get points with Daryl Johnston. Chris Myers, welcome to our view. It's a great stadium, great view, and a great atmosphere. It's been a fun game.
You know, sometimes a matchup like this doesn't live up to the hype, and we hyped it pretty good at the beginning of the broadcast, whether it was #1 offense, #1 defense. It's lived up to that billing. It really has. And the other side of that battle, you know, the Ravens offense against the Saints defense has been equally as entertaining, and it's been a great game. It's been a fantastic game. Just exciting to be a part of this one today.
Not over yet. 2 teams that lead their division. Chris Moore on the fly, knocked down short of the 20. A running tackle. We've had some great special teams in this game from both teams. Josh Robinson making the play there for the Saints. Joe Flacco, over 200 yards passing, has a touchdown. Lamar Jackson has run 3 times, has thrown a pass, and Jackson scored a touchdown right before the half. Ravens with 1 timeout, and they'll have the 2-minute warning in just a moment. From inside their own 20, Flacco's pass is incomplete, and a flag down back at the 11-yard line.
Personal foul, defense, number 92, face mask, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
A major penalty by rookie Marcus Davenport, grabbing the face mask of Flacco, and it pushes the ball up to the 34. Saints lead, but the Ravens have the football. Daryl Johnston, Laura Oakman on the field, Chris Myers on the NFL on Fox from Baltimore. Brees, his touchdown passes, history making for him. The Saints responding after a 10-7 game at the half. Ravens defense finally giving up second half touchdowns, something they hadn't done all year until tonight. After the penalty, catch made by Willie Snead, kept in bounds at the 40. Ravens have 1 timeout.
I don't know. 3-jet?
Rocket! Rocket!
Flacco, middle of the field, wide open. Crabtree with a first down at the Saints 42.
I know you want to let that clock run, but that's a little bit too big of a chunk yardage play in the middle of the field right there. You want that check down a little bit shorter.
Yeah, Darrell, I want you to help us on how the Saints defense is playing this underneath the Crabtree. And he gets down to around the 33 near another first down.
Well, they played it well, doing what you have to do against a team with one timeout. But you're right at a minute right now, so just the calm that everybody has, and it starts with Joe Flacco. There's no rush here, no panic.
Extra safety in. Flacco looks, throws. Buck Allen slips past one defender and saves time going out of bounds inside the 20 of the Saints.
Well, that's the one thing you can't do. You can't come up with an opportunity to make a tackle and force the Ravens to call that last timeout. So P.J. Williams has got a chance to make a big play right there. He allows Buck Allen not only to get a big catch, but to stop the clock as well. And Baltimore still has that one timeout left.
All the way down to the 15-yard line. Is caught by Allen, an ankle tackle. Tried to get away but could not. And the clock continues to run. 2nd and 9. Flacco for the end zone. Touchdown, John Brown!
Amazing that you can get that open in that situation at this point in the game.
I'm sure that's what Sean Payton is saying to his defensive coordinator. How the heck did that happen? I mean, he was wide open.
John Brown at the bottom of the field right here, but I mean, you're asking a lot of your safety there to get over there in that position. Marshawn Lattimore pushes him out. By coverage, you're thinking you've got safety help over the top, but I tell you, Von Bell looked back at Marshawn Lattimore, expecting him to carry him maybe a little bit more down the field or funnel him to the inside.
And a kicker who's never missed an extra point in his career. Justin Tucker. Are you kidding me? The first miss in his career, kicking extra points, and it comes at a time he had made 222 consecutive extra points. That's unbelievable.
Well, he's been flirting with the uprights during the course of the game today.
Snap in the hole.
Look at
looks
that.
good.
That thing just, that was like my golf swing right there. That thing just sliced to the right.
I mean, statistically, in his 7th year, the most accurate kicker in NFL history at 90% overall kicks. Look at that stare. He's in disbelief, as are many.
And as a kicker, you kind of know, right? If you hit the ball well, you shouldn't have that look on your face. So it looks like Justin Tucker really felt like he hit that ball the way he needed to hit it.
Saints celebrate. It looked like the snap and the hold were all in line with what you'd expect. And now they're going to try an onside kick, still hope for the Ravens. And for Justin Tucker to maybe get a chance. Saints are going to call a timeout here. What a drive by Flacco and that Raven offense. Flacco to John Brown for the touchdown, and you just assume it's an automatic extra point. Not so. Ever since they moved it back 33 yards. But it hasn't affected him like many other kickers. Let's have another look at that, because this is just a stunner.
Now watch as it starts. Like you said, snap a little bit high, but set down laces are good. It looks like it's coming right down the middle, and then it just moves to the right.
Now that is the side that the wind is a little more challenging, but it doesn't feel as windy as earlier. And here's a guy who knows this building as well as anybody.
Well, it's a little bit different. They've added these big scoreboards here on each end. There used to be big tunnels where the wind would blow through. They've added suites into the top corners, so it's difficult as it has been to kick here. It's even different again this year. So everybody is getting used to the new environment in here to kick.
He hadn't been wide on a kick under 58 yards in his last 180 kicks. It's a roller, and Alvin Kamara is on it. And the Saints are going to get their 5th straight win. And a season full of kicking adventures continues all around the league. Ask Cleveland about that. Saints survived the 2nd game of the year against the Browns because of some kicking problems. The Tampa Bay Bucks today had a kicker miss and then an extra point and eventually in overtime. Catanzaro delivered the winner.
But now Drew Brees has beaten every team in the NFL. Check that box. Another milestone. Another career full of them.
An amazing season continues for Brees and the Saints. All 32 teams he has a win against. Only 2 others have done that. Brett Favre and Peyton Manning. And over 500 career touchdown passes as Sean Payton and the Saints come into Baltimore and win a tight one. We'll have more from Baltimore in a moment.